dear ministers, ambassadors, senior officials, colleagues, friends, welcome to AmCham US Chamber Indonesia Initiative. I'm very sorry that I cannot be there in person. It's the first time ever, actually, that I'm not attending in person, so I appreciate your understanding to accept my presence, so to say, via video. We're certainly meeting today at a most interesting juncture. Clearly, there's a fair bit of turbulence in the emerging markets, especially the currency markets. Not just the rupiah, but a lot of emerging markets currencies are under pressure at the moment. We are 7 months from presidential and legislative elections. So you might be wondering what, if anything, is going to get done between now and then. And happy to share a few thoughts on what I think we can look ahead to. I think first, I do want to start off by saying that the government is clearly determined to put Indonesia squarely in the bucket of countries that are pursuing economic orthodoxy. Our Minister of Finance has reworked the budget to be tighter rather than more expensive. So hoping to send a strong signal of fiscal prudence. Our central bank is gradually but firmly raising interest rates to respond to the currency market signals. And we're taking measures within the paradigm of economic orthodoxy. We're not trying any funky, new, strange ideas which are not commonly accepted in the academic convention. The second thing, and many of you know me as occasionally a fairly tongue-in-cheek guy, right? Just want to remind everyone that we have this old saying in Indonesia, which is that good times leads to bad policy and bad times leads to good policy. And frankly, I discern an opportunity to try to harness the current market pressures to try to push structural reforms and market opening reforms and more business-friendly policies, which frankly, when things are going swimmingly, seems like the urgency to do those things evaporates, right? So wish it wasn't like that, but it is what it is. We are where we are, so let's just make the best of it. In terms of the next few months and the lead up to the elections, what's going to happen, what makes sense as a corporate strategy positioning for the next 12 to 18 months. To me, it's actually very heartening that our economy continues to grow pretty steadily, at 5% or thereabouts, even with all the market turbulence, even with many policy challenges and political uncertainty. I think it remains unchanged that Indonesia at this point has reached a kind of critical mass, right? Last year, we were the number 16 country in world history to reach $1 trillion GDP per year. I think we have a critical mass of industry, system-wide sophistication, young, entrepreneurial, internationally educated people to keep driving the economy forward at 5% or thereabouts, which means that the economy continues to be on track to double every 14 years. And I think, it's always good to remember that, in the midst of a lot of distracting headlines and sensations in the media. The second thing I would say about the outlook for the next 12 to 18 months, including the big political event of the elections April of next year, is I think what makes sense for corporate strategy is to start to position for the immediate aftermath of those elections. And the reason is, regardless the actual outcome, I'm very, very sure that, number one, there's not going to be any change in the underlying trend of internationalization, globalization, digitalization, modernization. There may be significant changes in tone or style. But look, we know all the major players, right? If anything, under any scenario that I can imagine, I personally fully expect a fresh burst of reform, of market opening, international outreach, new energy from a renewed electoral mandate. And I think that's what companies and investors should be positioning for. Probably risk mitigating measures, especially with respect to indebtedness and currency, need to be adopted. But again, I feel very, very comfortable about the economic fundamentals going into the election and post-election and on a 12 to 24 month outlook. I think the digital economy will continue to boom, will continue to transform the economy one sector at a time, and that will help maintain productivity growth at 3% per year easily, which on top of the 2% per year growth in the labor force results in that 5% per year annual GDP growth. So I think 5% per year on the economy over the next 5 to 8 years is definitely in the bag and bankable as far as companies are concerned. Now, even if we did have a major downturn in the markets, currency or otherwise, all we got to do is look at the history of the last 20 years. Definitely, downturns like that are very difficult for short-term investors, but for investors who are here to stay, right? Investors who are able to take a medium to long-term outlook. Again, look at the last 20 years. People who stayed the course after the 97-98 Asian financial crisis, after the 2008 global financial crisis, they're sitting on a ton of profits and gains now, right? So I think even if things do temporarily spiral out of control in the currency markets or otherwise, I think the thing to do would be to stay the course, and if anything, capitalize on that as a buying opportunity. So anyway, thank you for the opportunity to attend by video, and I certainly wish all of you a productive series of sessions today. Thank you very much.